So today we're going to talk about men's top 3 commitment fears and what to do about them. I'm going to start by reading you something from chapter 3 in the new book, The New Love in 90 Days. And chapter 3 is called Dating Games Men Play. 16 Deadly Dating Patterns You Need to Know Now. You come to love not by finding the perfect person, but by seeing an imperfect person perfectly. I love that. That's a quote by Sam Keen. Have you ever worried? Sorry, yes, worried. Have you ever asked yourself about guys? How could he disappear after he was so totally into me? Why hasn't he texted? Why does he pull away every time we get close? Was it just about the sex? How could he not be interested in me? Why doesn't he make a move? Why did he put his profile back up? Will he ever commit? What the bleep is going on with him? Is it him or is it me? Ah, men, mystifying men. So today we're going to look at what's really going on the deepest level with guys in terms of their fears. And this is very, very powerful because, let me just change my glasses here so I can see you guys better. Hey, Latonia. Anyway, so this is at the deepest level, at what we call the foundation of the ego. We're looking at deeply unconscious fears that men actually have about commitment, about love relationships, about being fully in there 100% in a relationship. And when you look at this level, you're looking at these old scars and wounds from the guy's childhood. What was going on in the guy's childhood, where this was his earliest love lesson that he was experiencing, mostly with mother, also with father. You know, we learn about love in our earliest relationships with mom, right? That's your first love. So if we look at what's going on with a guy in his early childhood, you're going to learn a lot. And it's really great to interview a guy about his family life. You know, what was your childhood like? What was your mom like? What was your dad like? That gives you so much information. It's like not even funny, right? So let's look at the first fear. The first fear is of engulfment, of smothering. And this guy had an experience with a helicopter mother, right? Who was hovering, controlling, fearful about her son, you know, judgmental about him, intrusive, right, on top of him all the time. So what did he learn about love? Love means that you're going to be smothered. Love means that you can't have any selfhood. You can't have any me time. You can't really be in your own space. You know, you can't, right? This is what a person learns when they have a helicopter mother. So when it comes to a love relationship, he's unconsciously afraid of being totally taken over, completely taken over, of being completely sucked dry, of being completely used up, right? Because this is someone who grew up as a mother's boy, and he really wasn't allowed to have his independence. Now, here's the interesting thing. You understanding this dynamic, you can actually understand what would be healing in terms of your relationship with him. And see, the ultimate in love relationships has to do with healing each other's wounds from childhood. You want to move into a position where you're healing each other's wounds from childhood. He's healing your wounds and you're healing his wounds. That is so, so powerful. So in this instance, when you're dealing with engulfment fears, what is the remedy? The remedy is, of course, to give him space, to do your own thing, to keep your own independence, to keep your friends. Sometimes that's very hard when you're in a love relationship. All of a sudden, you're not meeting with your girlfriends. You don't want to go out, you know, to have a drink or to have a bite. And you're kind of giving yourself up. Well, with a person who has engulfment fears, that is something that doesn't do them any help. It doesn't give them any help, and it doesn't do you any justice either, because it's very important to maintain your own space anyway. So the really healing thing is to help him learn that he could be in a close, loving relationship with commitment and still have his space, to have his man cave, to have his time with the guys, to be able to go out and do his thing. That's very healing and corrective for somebody like that, right? So number 2, let's look at the number 2 unconscious fear, deep, deep unconscious fear that guys have about commitment. The number 2 fear is abandonment. This is abandonment. And this is a situation where growing up, right, his mother was maybe a workaholic. She may have been very self-involved, very narcissistic. He may have been left for long periods of time alone. This is somebody who got very little attention, very little validation. So he doesn't really have a template for intimacy very much, right? And he has a very hard time with commitment because unconsciously he feels like he's going to be left. He's going to be abandoned, that it's never going to work, you know. So, you know, he grew up alone. He grew up as a nobody's boy. So he's feeling unconsciously like, oh my God, you know, it's never going to happen for me. And he's unconsciously scanning anything that's happening in the relationship to see if he's being left, or he's not loved, or he's not valued, or he's not appreciated. So what is the remedy for this, for an abandonment fear? The remedy is to be responsive, to be validating, to be appreciative to the guy, and not to pull away, not to sulk and dump him and cut him off, because that replicates exactly what happened with his mom, right? And that's his wound, that's his trauma. And so the healing stance for you to take is actually to keep the bond going, have him experience what it's like to have somebody who is invested and interested in him and there for him with regular texts, let's say, with regular calls, you know, with responding when he does kiss you or come on to you sexually, there's a response. There's somebody there for him, and he has this healing, this learning that there's somebody there for him. It's very, very powerful. And once again, it's not just about you healing him, it's about him coming through for you. Women have these 3 fears also. In fact, you can have more than one fear, and men can have more than one of these fears. So that is the corrective stance for abandonment. The 3rd fear is annihilation. This is a heavy-duty one. This is somebody who grew up with a lot of verbal abuse, maybe physical abuse. There may have been alcoholism or addiction in the family, a very chaotic family home. And so the fear is annihilation, of actually being hurt physically, emotionally, or even killed off in some way. Also, the other part of this fear is that the guy may actually be afraid because of retaliation that he could hurt you. And this is all unconscious. And so, you know, with somebody like this, you know, the main thing is that if it is an extreme situation like this, after you learn about his childhood and everything, you got to be very, very careful with a person like this. I mean, your safety is the main concern. Your safety is number 1. And if he's coming from an extremely abusive place and he starts acting out with you and he's verbally abusive and he's maybe even physically abusive, no. That is not acceptable. You want to have your own safety. You don't want to have that trauma. You don't want to live with that trauma. But if it's not that bad of an annihilation fear and he's not that, you know, he's not acting out very much, you know, the remedy for this is to be a very steady, safe figure in his life, right? That's the healing. And also being strong and tough and having great boundaries that do not allow any anger or overly emotional outbursts towards you. It is totally unacceptable. This is corrective for him because he feels held, he feels safe, he feels secure. You can actually reverse all these things. Obviously, you know, if you have some of these fears, these are the healing inputs that you need. Very, very important. You need to have coming back in terms of healing your wounds, you know. So if you had engulfment, you need someone who can give you space. If you had abandonment, you need someone who can be steady and there for you. If you had annihilation, you need someone who makes you feel safe. Very, very important. Remember that in a great love relationship, it's about healing each other and really being there for each other in new ways that give a new feeling of hope and feeling loved. This is incredible. So I just want to tell you about one case in our Love Mentor coaching program. This is a woman in her 30s. And she met this guy, and he had a helicopter mother. He was a great guy. He was very successful professionally. He was a lawyer, but he had a helicopter mother. And so she was very, very careful in dating him. She kept her own space. She kept her girlfriends. She kept her time with her friends. She gave him a lot of room, right? And at one point he says to her, I just want you to know that I really am not looking for marriage. And that's his commitment fear, because he's afraid he's going to be helicoptered by her and be engulfed by her. So she said to him, and this is something I talk about in Love in 90 Days, she used what I call positive paranoia. And positive paranoia is amazingly powerful. It's the opposite of negative paranoia. You know how somebody does something and you're like, oh my God, that means you don't love me. Well, in positive paranoia, you look at the parts of the guy where he really does want to come through for you. You know, everybody's ambivalent. People are ambivalent when it comes to love. And so there is always a part that wants commitment. There's always a part that wants commitment, because at the deepest level, we're wired for committed, loving relationships way down underneath these fears. So she actually used positive paranoia, and she teased him. They were fooling around in the pool, and she dunked him, and she said, you're dying to get married to me, but I don't know. Long story short, you know, with the help of her Love Mentor coach, she is now very happily married to this guy. And he's very happy too, because at the deepest level, that's what he wanted. So this is just one small nugget from Love in 90 Days. And the 10th anniversary edition just came out. And it's available now with $1,000 in bonus gifts, which is pretty amazing, from leading love experts. There's all kinds of wonderful bonus gifts that come with this, webinars and audio trainings. I mean, it's amazing. So definitely, if you would like to take advantage of this, go to Love in 90 Days. That's lovein90days.com, and click at the top where it says $1,000. Click on that, and it'll walk you right through how to get your book and your bonus prizes. And I'm very, very excited about you using this and really learning about how to create love where you're getting that amazing healing dynamic. There's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. So please join me every Thursday here at 2 Eastern Time on my Facebook page, Dating to True Love Mentor. And if you like this video, please like it. And share it. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, please like it and share it and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm wishing you guys lots and lots of love. I love you guys. You're the best. And I'll be answering your questions in the comment section after the video is over. Love you.